Hello everybody, I'm Liz, and today I'm going to talk about all the books I read in May, which is a total of 5 books, and then I'm going to talk about some of the books that I am currently reading. The first book I finished in May was The Alloy of Law. This is the 4th book in the Mistborn series by Brandon Sanderson, and I was a little bit worried about how it is 300 years in the future and how they were going to wrap up this new technology with the Mistborn series, their alchemy, feruchemy powers. Like with the original trilogy, I did the audiobook because I just absolutely love the narrator. It did not disappoint. I seriously love this Western steampunk twist with the Mistborn series and the magic system that I already know. The main character is Wax. He is this nobleman who basically disappears to the Roughs, which is basically like the West, and fights these bad guys. And then a series of events puts him back into Ellendale, which is the main town in the area and where he's from. But he gets thrown into this mystery type thing and so many things happen, and I was just thrown back into the Mistborn world. I will forever love the Mistborn series, and I just cannot wait to keep going and also to keep on reading and finding new books by Brandon Sanderson to read and enjoy. So this is obviously getting a 5 out of 5. The next book I finished was a honk of a book. It is Before the Devil Breaks You by Libba Bray. This is the 3rd book in her Diviners series. If you like 1920s historical paranormal fiction, this is the book series for you. You have these diviners, they have powers, and they solve crimes and mysteries and all this other stuff. They're teenagers, so they don't do it well. I can't really dive too much into the synopsis and what happens in the 3rd book because I don't want to spoil you if you haven't read the 1st or the 2nd. But all I will say is Libba Bray has been more inclusive and everything, just talking about a lot of societal issues of the time period that I absolutely adore. It goes into interracial relationships, it goes into the LGBT community, asexuality, so it is definitely a plus for diversity, and Libba Bray has always tried to introduce diversity into her books, and she does a really good job at it, and a really good job at talking about really difficult issues, and so that is just why I love her as an author, and I will stick around with her books. And if any of you have read Before the Devil Breaks You, please talk to me in the comments down below, because that ending freaking tore out my soul, and so let's talk about it down there. And so because I did really enjoy this book, and I feel like these books are getting stronger the more I read them, that I want to give this book a solid 5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was Amulet by Kazu Kibayashi. This is book 1, The Stonekeeper. It is this really cutesy comic series, and it has really cute writing. The characters are pretty young. I think they're 11 and something, or 7, 8, 9, I don't know, somewhere around there. And basically they move into this really old, kind of decrepit house that's their mother's grandfather's. And while they're there, they find this really cool room with some mysterious things and gadgets, and that night their mom gets kidnapped by this scary, monstrous creature and throws them into a new dimension. So the 2 kids is Emily and Navin, and they basically run into this dimension to save their mom. This this comic series took kind of a turn I wasn't expecting, and I won't say that that is really in a good way. I thought I would really like this book, but I thought it was just kind of okay, and so yeah, I think I'm gonna give it a solid 3.5 out of 5 stars. because I did enjoy it, but I'm not sure I really like the direction that the comics is taking. So the next book I finished has been sitting on my bookshelf for the longest time. I can't believe it took me 4 years to finally pick up this book. And that is Cinder by Marissa Meyer. This is a Cinderella retelling where it is a futuristic Asian society that has cyborgs, and Cinder is a cyborg. She has a mechanical arm and leg and all this other stuff going on. There is a virus that is wreaking havoc on the society. People are getting infected left and right, and there's no cure for it. There's also the Lunars. This is this moon race, this alien race that is kind of in peace talks with this Asian society, but it's not going very well, and these Lunars are very powerful and scary, and there's a lot of controversy with them. So it's very interesting how Marissa Meyer wove this Cinderella story with this big epic like sci-fi story, and I really loved this book, and I can't even believe that I took so long to pick this up because it was so good. The month of May was rockin' with my books because all of these books are just so good, and I'm giving this also a 5 out of 5 frickin' stars. It was so good. The fifth book I read in May was Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. This book I read way back in November, but I never managed to finish it. So I finally got my hands on it and finished this book. It's about this Scot named Richard Mayhew who moves to London to try to make a better life of himself. But he's in this kind of lame job. He's just this average guy. And that all changes when he spots this injured woman who really looks like she needs help in the street, and he takes her home and tries to help her. And that gets him thrown into this underworld full of mice and creatures and mystery and magic, and it is just so ever so interesting. I am so glad I finally finished this book. The ending was a little underwhelming. I think I really wanted more of Richard and Dor in this story, but I still really loved and enjoyed the story. And so with that, I'm giving it a 4 out of 5 stars. I also hear that this series is going to get a sequel, and I am so stoked to figure out what's going to happen and who the main characters are and everything like that, because there's not a whole lot of information on it yet, so fingers crossed. Now, books I am currently reading. I am still reading Night Film by Marisha Pessl. It is taking me longer than I expected to get through this, as I haven't made a whole lot of progress since I last talked to you about this book. I am getting more invested in all the characters and the mystery and everything like that. So we'll just keep reading it and hope that it really picks up for me, that I can start just really devouring its pages sooner. The next book, if you guys have been following my Instagram, is Obsidio by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This is the third and final book in the Illuminae Files, which is this epic sci-fi battle royale of this sketchy company named Biotech and the inhabitants of Carenza 4 and other spacecraft, and it is just so epic, and I hear that this book will rip your soul out, rip your heart out, and I am so ready for it. I need the characters back in my life, and I need to know what happens to Biotech and if they get the justice that they deserve. So wish me luck on this book. Hopefully I am not too much in tears. As for other books of the month, I am not exactly sure. I'm going on a camping trip in a couple weeks, so I'm very excited to see what books I bring with me. and everything like that. I am between audiobooks right now, but I just got the audiobook for These Broken Stars by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. This is a star-crossed lovers romance in space, and so I'm kind of excited to see if I'll like this. I've tried to start this book several times in the past and have had no success, so I'm hoping the audiobook kind of just takes off. Alright, so these are the 3 books I plan on reading this month. We'll see if I end up reading more, as I hope I do. And if you have any suggestions on what books to read, and if you really like the books that you read in May, please let me know in the comments down below. I would love to get some recommendations. And if you've read any of the books I have talked about in this video, please let me know your thoughts on them, whether you enjoyed them or whether you disliked them. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope to see you guys again soon. Anyway, until next time, bye!